Good morning. Good morning to everyone in the sanctuary and in our Zoom room. And thank you for joining us today at Unity Spiritual Center in the Rockies. I am free, I am unlimited. There are no chains that bind me. I am free, I am unlimited. Right now, right now. I am free, I am unlimited. There are no chains that bind me. I am free, I am unlimited. Right now, right now. I am free, I am unlimited. There are no chains that bind me. I am free, I am unlimited. Right now, right now. We are free, we are unlimited. There are no chains that bind us. We are free, we are unlimited. Right now, right now. We are free, we are unlimited. There are no chains that bind us. We are free, we are unlimited. Right now. Right now, we are free, we are unlimited. There are no chains that bind us. We are free, we are unlimited. Right now, right now.
Good morning. Welcome to the February 19th, 2023 Sunday service at the Unity Spiritual Center in the Rockies. My name is River Hansen, and I am a member of the board, and I get to be your platform assistant today. Unity in the Rockies is an inclusive community. We welcome all people, races, gender, identities, and relational orientations. Let's start over, and you can read it with me if you like. Unity in the Rockies. All people, races, gender, identities, and relational orientations. Wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. And now we're going to recite our mission statement. How about if you just repeat after me? We are an inclusive spiritual community where we recognize and express our oneness with our Creator and all creation. And finally, our vision statement. Okay, let's recite together. We are grounded in meditation, prayer, and healing, celebrating the Christ spirit within all people, and with a thriving spirit of community and oneness, shall be a leading spiritual light throughout the Pikes Peak region and the world. Okay, our flowers today were provided or are provided by Jeff and Phyllis Cahill in memory of Phyllis's mother's birthday. Thank you, Phyllis. Okay, so save the date. We're going to be having an annual business meeting on March 19th after the service, right here in the sanctuary. The Board of Trustees annual meeting to present information on the business matters of our spiritual center and to vote on the new Board of Trustees to hear about plans for the future of your spiritual center. Also, we will vote on a change to the bylaws. Members, please plan to attend and vote and update your knowledge about business operations. All are welcome, members and non-members. We so appreciate your involvement. More information to come as the planning gets way for this special, special meeting. And of course, you can always read all about it in our e-blast, our newsletter online. Next week's fellowship lunch will be Mystic Crockpot Sunday. So be sure to sign up for something on the bulletin board in the hallway or contact Jackie Borg. Her information is in the e-blast newsletter. The Sacred Women's Circle had their monthly meeting yesterday. Diane Forrest led the group in a presentation on the mystical and practical and spiritual realms of our dreams. 18 women were in attendance both in person and on Zoom. Thank you, Forrest, for an insightful presentation. You are so appreciated. Our Sunday meditations are from 9 to 9:30. If you want to lead a meditation, I put a sign-up sheet on the bulletin board for the entire year. So thank you in advance for your leadership and your light for this spiritual and important half hour of our Sunday experience. Speaking of light, welcome to the light on the mesa.
And friends, I invite you now to join in opening song. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angel wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angel wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place.
The daily word for today is aspiration. I aspire to help create a world that works for all. I hold a vision of an equitable world, a global community that supports and encourages all people to live fully and reach their unique potential. I feel a kinship with those who hold a similar vision and work to realize it. My past experiences and present perspective show me what is mine to do and how I can contribute to realizing my vision. I trust I will be guided and inspired to find avenues of service where the things I do best and most enjoy doing will be most helpful. I bless people I never have met, and I offer my time, talents, and effort to further my vision of a new way of living. With a clarity of purpose, I take my place among a growing network of caring, visionary souls. The gifts he gave were to equip the saints for the work of ministry, for building up the body of Christ. Ephesians chapter 4, verses 11 through 12.
There is a garden where everything grows, a beautiful garden where love's grace blooms. There is a garden where dreams come true, a beautiful garden where love is sown. And in this place of light and love, you can have anything that you're dreaming of. There is a garden where dreams come true, beautiful garden. That garden is you. And in this place of light and love, you can have anything that you're dreaming of. There is a garden where dreams come true, a beautiful garden. That garden is you, a beautiful garden. That garden is you.
What a glorious way to start the day. Love me some Eddie Watkins. Love me some Ruby Greenberg. Thank you. Well, good morning. Happy Sunday, beloveds. Oh my gosh, so much going on, so much to talk about, so much to share. Settle in. We might be here a while. So this month we are exploring curiosity as a superpower. That is what I know of all sentient beings, that we get to be curious, whatever our age, whatever our socioeconomic status, whatever our color, whatever our gender, we are invited by Spirit into curiosity. We're invited into curiosity about our world, about our family, about our neighbors, and about ourselves. So that's what we're up to this month. We're stepping into that space of what if. We're stepping into that space of we could turn it upside down or turn it inside out. Or what if we started in the middle? Or what, oh look, something shiny. So we get to be curious about everything. And for me, that just feels really exciting. And today, as you already know, the world is our oyster. So let's shuck that. Let's unpack that and see what that has in store for us. So, as last week we talked about Valentine's Day and we talked about Abraham Lincoln's birthday, this week we get to talk about Fat Tuesday and Ash Wednesday in the beginning of Mardi Gras, and tomorrow, right on top of us, President's Day. So I invite you into that space of reflection for all of those beings who have served so graciously, so gallantly as president of this country. Whomever you love, whomever you don't, you get to send that love, you get to hold the space, you get to hold the consciousness for all of those beings in gratitude for their service. And if I may be so bold, I would ask for your prayers and for your high consciousness, specifically for our oldest living president, Jimmy Carter, who's 98 years old, as he has moved into home hospice care, and he continues to show grace and courage as a person of faith and what that looks like. So whatever your spiritual practice, kindly join me in supporting President Carter. And I so appreciate this quote: "What are the things that you can't see that are important?" I would say justice, truth, humility, service, compassion, love. You can't see any of those, but they're the guiding lights of a life. Bless you, Mr. President. And on the presidential front, I appreciate all things political. So I engage all along the spectrum just from that place of curiosity, right? Some things I agree with, some things I don't agree with. We don't need to have that debate right now. But what I would offer you is we got another candidate for president this past week. The former U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, Governor Nikki Haley of South Carolina, entered the Republican field for president. Now, I don't know Nikki Haley. I do know Nikki Haley's sister, Simran. And Simran and I have done some work together in spiritual community over the years. And I recall a particular lunch that we were having several years ago. And we were going back and forth and exchanging ideas and thoughts and all of our grand and glorious ways that we would fix the world if we were in charge. And she was sharing a bit of her experience growing up in an Indian family in South Carolina at the time that she grew up. And she said, David, and not American Indian, native to India, Indian. And she said, David, my parents did everything that they could to help us assimilate. We went to public school. We went to the church on the corner. We participated in community events. We did everything that we could to try to become American. We did everything that we could to try to become normal. And she said, my parents entered us as little girls. Nikki is a few years older than Simran. My parents entered both of us in the local beauty pageant at the school. And so there we were in our little outfits and doing whatever we did in the pageant for little girls. And it got to the end, and they had us all lined up on the stage, and it was going to be, it was time for the results. And there was some conversation at the judges' table, and nobody knew what it was about. And finally, this woman came walking out on the stage, and she said, Nikki and Simran, will you come forward, please? And she said, we were both so excited, and we were holding hands, and we walked up together, and they said, girls, or the person said, girls, here's a coloring book and some crayons for you. Thank you so much for joining us in our pageant. You see, we have our white girls over here, we have our black girls over here, and we don't know what to do with brown girls. Thank you for being here today. May we, my friends, as we engage in this day and every day going forward, may we know what to do with each other and with all of our children. So that is what I know as we step into the world is our oyster. Simran and her sister took different paths to dealing with disappointment, to dealing with racism, to dealing with everything that so many have to deal with in our society. Simran took a spiritual path of service. That's how she continues to give back and explain and be in her interpretation of the divine. Nikki took a very different path to service, the political path, equally as valid and just different. And she was, as I said, the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations. Now she is a serious candidate for president of this country that was not very kind to her in the beginning. So that is the opportunity that we have. Whatever is irritating you, whatever is causing the scratchiness in your life, you get to be with it. That is what we are about, being in spiritual community. You can step away. You can do a spiritual bypass. You can say, oh, well, that's the way it is. This always happens to me and I'm a victim. Those are all choices. And we choose different choices. We choose to face the irritant. We choose to be with it front and center. We choose to say, what is mine to learn from going through this experience? Because you see, when that grain of sand gets in the oyster doesn't say, oh, phooey, I'm done. The oyster does what it can do with what it has at its disposal. So it surrounds this grain of sand in mucus to create what we know is the beautiful pearl. So that comes about through agitation, that comes about through irritation, that comes about through discomfort. So, how does that relate to you? How can you put that into direct application in your life? Again, where do you feel that scratchiness? We all appreciate joy. We all appreciate goodness. We all appreciate love. And part of the human experience is that scratchiness. Where is that for you? Is that in an area of health and wellness? Is that in an area of relationship? Is that in an area of forgiveness? Is that in a space of your professional life? Where is that irritant? I invite you, as part of your growth, to bring that front and center in your consciousness and simply be with it. Let's not call it good or bad right now. Let's just say, this is what is. And then you get to be with what is yours to do with that. To use another metaphor of nature, we've all heard the analogy of the caterpillar turning into the butterfly. Well, the caterpillar spins the cocoon, and, best I can say is this gunky mess crystallizes before it becomes the butterfly. And then, when it's ready to come out of the cocoon, it's pushing. And if I, and all of my helpfulness, say, oh, that poor little butterfly is struggling, I'm going to help. And if I cut away anything to free that butterfly will most assuredly die. The butterfly needs the resistance. The butterfly has to build its muscle by doing its own work to break out of the cocoon in perfect time, right? So that is exactly what we are doing. We are doing that inner work ourselves. Nobody can do it for us to make it any easier or any harder. We get to do that work in our own good time to get to be where we need and want to be. So we can transform our world. We can transform our community. And we know that that work begins within each and every one of us. I've shared before that one of my dear friends and mentors is Reverend Cynthia James. Cynthia was one of the first winners on Star Search. and she got a $10,000 check as a young struggling artist in LA. And she was like, and she had a mock check on her checkbook as a mental equivalent for $1,000. She won $10,000. Back in the day, that was a lot of money. And she said, if I would have known it was this easy, I would have chosen a bigger number. And I said, well, absolutely. I said, why didn't you choose 100 million? And she said, David, knowing what I know now, I had to prepare myself along the way. I had to take those small steps. Many of us have heard the stories about the people who are down and out and won $1 million or won $10 million. And it's gone in a flash, metaphysically speaking, because they don't have the framework. They don't know how to manage that. So let us be in that place of doing our work and doing it incrementally before we can achieve or choose to achieve the major changes. Again, in honor of President's Day, I would share with you, change will not come if we wait for some other person or some other time. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the change that we seek. President Barack Obama, we are the ones we've been waiting for. It's not when they do something different or when they change or when they treat me better. It's what I do right now. We are the ones we've been waiting for. So what I'm inviting you into then, beloveds, is don't ignore that which brings you discomfort. That is the path that we're on. That is the work that we're doing. Again, we can choose spiritual bypass. We can love people through it or in it or out of it or ourselves, or we can do the work so we don't choose to repeat the lesson. Do any of you know people who perhaps have been divorced 2 or 3 or 4 times, and they tend to remarry the same person in different form again and again and again? And it's kind of an I love you, what the fluff moment, right? It's like, why? And it's because they haven't learned what is theirs to learn. So let us be conscious and let us be open to what is ours to learn. Begin working on what is yours to work on with what you've already got. And you will allow your curiosity to reveal those greater possibilities. I love the quote attributed to Maya Angelou when she says, do what you can do in this moment. When you know better, do better. Don't let that fear of not knowing where to start keep you from starting, whether it's your interpersonal work, your community work, your work in the world. So that is what I know to be true of this community, of Unity in the Rockies. You all have been through so much change over the past 2 years. Some people have chosen to withdraw. Some people have chosen to participate. Some people have chosen to step up and lead with passion. And I love and I bless and I honor all of you, whatever your choice, whatever your path. Because you see, this community would not be the same without your energy. For those of you who continued to offer your gifts and your tithes, thank you. For those of you who continued to hold this community in prayer and do the recitation for the perfect facilitator, the perfect leader, thank you. I'm still stepping into that. Please don't hear me as identifying as perfect. My husband would beg to differ. But I am saying we need each and every being, and thank you for whatever you contributed. And spoiler alert, my sense is we're not done changing quite yet. For example, the calendar that we just published, we're making a change. We are still going to offer the Labyrinth class in April, but we're moving it to Thursday night instead of Wednesday night because there are a number of activities that were conflicting with Wednesday night. So we're flexible, we're moving to Thursday. Just a small example. And I love this from Dr. Ernest Holmes. Nature will not let us stay in any one place too long. Nature demands the change in order that we may advance. When the change comes, we should welcome it with a smile on the lips and a song in the heart. I love change, as long as I don't have to do it. So as we move then to conclude our work around stepping into curiosity and what is ours to know and what is ours to explore, and our broader theme for the year then of living out loud and recognizing and expressing the God within you. Curiosity allows us to see the magnificence of who we are and how we show up in the world. We can revel in the wonderment and live life out loud as the joy of God. Or not. We always have a choice. We may not always like our choices, and we always have a choice. What will your choice be? Will you choose to see the divine expressed through you and live life to its fullest, or will you choose something different? Recognize and know yourself as an expression of the divine and live life to its fullest. Don't hold back in fear. As I shared last week, that's simply false evidence appearing real. Dive in with curiosity, with wonderment, with joy, and allow God to be expressed as you. As Karen Drucker sings so beautifully, let your big, bright, brilliant beam of radiant light shine. I see that light. I feel that light. Your light is attracting new and wonderful people into this community. Your light is attracting those who haven't been with us for a while to come back and reconnect and say hello and say, I miss you, and say, I love you. Let your light shine, beloveds. And when we bring in the notion of imagination, we begin to discover a whole new sense of God. The notion of the divine imagination brings out the creativity of God. And John O'Donohue tells us creativity is the supreme passion of God. So I'm reminded of a story, another person of whom I'm extremely fond and I love his work, Mark Nepo. In his book of Awakening, he tells the story of a philosopher, of Michael Zimmerman, being given what in the day was called Chinese handcuffs. It was that little cylinder kind of woven together, and you put one finger in here and one finger in here. And the irony is that the harder you pull, the tighter they get, hence the handcuffs. And he realized early on, he thought, what if I tried something counterintuitive? What if I relaxed? So he relaxed his hands, he withdrew the energy, and he slightly started pulling his fingers apart. And he pulled his fingers apart, and the little handcuffs made of straw were still intact. So what if, instead of trying harder this week, what if you try softer? What if you lean into what you know? What if you lean into what you have already learned? What if you lean into your intuition? What if you lean into that Christ consciousness that I see in you? Whatever you call it, however you identify with it, let it support you. God can't provide until you're ready to receive. So if you experience that moment of trying softer, what I know to be true is God is always conspiring for your good, and the universe always has your back. Give it a shot. Let's see what happens with that. The other piece that I wanted to share with you is that whole concept of creating in consciousness that which we want and choose to see in reality. You know, I mentioned a couple of times and acknowledged the great work that you all have done with West Side Cares over the years. And Susan, thank you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for opening those doors to me. What if, as a community, we engaged in a broader conversation around what might be true? And please hear me. I know that that community and all of the neighbors that they serve are grateful for the funding, are grateful for the clothing, are grateful for the food. And what else might be true? How else might we support West Side Cares other than financially? I don't know. Let us enter into that conversation, because you see, that is what we do. We are on a spiritual path. We know about possibility. As Jimmy Carter wrote so beautifully, we know about believing in things that we can't see. We know about faith. We know about love. We know about connection. We can see the outpicturing of it, and we can't see it. It's like wind. I can see the wind blowing the flowers over. I can see the wind knocking me on my rear end, but I can't see the wind. And that is what it means to be people of faith. And that is what we do really, really well. So let us engage in that effort as we continue to uplift ourselves, our church community, our broader community, and all of those on the planet. Will you join me in that effort? Thank you. It's early, not enough coffee yet. Thank you for listening. So there's one more story that I wanted to share with you. And before I do that, I would just invite you, as we make those considerations, we have all heard the quote, "Be the change you want to see in the world." What if we made that our mantra this week? I choose to be the change I want to see in the world. Rather than, again, expecting them to change or it'll get better when they do something different, what can I change this week? Can I think about somebody differently in my life? One of my most powerful experiences with that came in ministerial school. It was good, and it was strong, and it was wonderful, and it was challenging, and my life was topsy-turvy, and all conversations for another day. And one of my beloved teachers, a minister, and I did this constantly. And I did everything I knew how to do. I prayed, I meditated, I talked to my minister, I talked to my equivalent of a chaplain, I talked to my friends, I talked to my family, I wrote, I journaled, I prayed, I sat on my meditation cushion, I chanted, and I was just at wit's end with this person. Until one of my mentors said, "David, are you going to let one person distract you from what you know is your life calling?" And I said, "Thank you, and we still have this going on. And I don't want to be the constant burr in her saddle, nor do I want her to be the constant burr in mine." And my mentor said, "David, do what you know to do. Get a picture of this person, either physical or in your mind, and place that picture on your altar and pray for this person for 21 days. 21 days is what we know to be is a reasonable number to change a habit or create a new one." She said, have you prayed for this person? I said, "Well, yeah." And she said, "Well, I bet your prayer was interesting based on that tone." And so what else do we know as people of faith? It's not just about the words, it's the energy behind the words. So I put this person's picture on my altar. And I prayed for them for 21 days. And I praised her, and I raised her, and I let go of whatever other human stuff was in the way. And I saw a dramatic shift in our relationship. So I know that I know that you've had demonstrations of prayer, as have I, and change starts with each one of us. Who can you invite into your personal altar? Again, that there's been a little bit of scratchiness, and it's not all working in the shadow. Who can you place on your altar to celebrate? I love our flowers every week are in celebration, are in honoring of an individual, of a family member, of an event, of an occasion. You can use it however you choose. I'm inviting you into the practice of praising and raising somebody in your life. So in closing, my friends, I will share with you a story that we've probably heard it in different forms. There was a beautiful older woman who was sitting by the side of a lake in her chair with a little cage that she had open into the water. And this fellow who was doing his laps had seen her day in and day out and day in and day out. And she was always there with her chair, with the cage, with something on her lap. And finally, curiosity got the best of him. What, curiosity again? And so he walked up to her and asked her the question. Excuse me. He said, "I'm sorry, I can't help but notice that you're here every day, and I didn't know what you were doing." And as he got closer, he saw that the door to the little cage was open, and that little turtles were swimming in and out of the cage. And what she did is she would gather a turtle, put the turtle in her lap, and then gently use a sponge to clean off its shell. And that was the extent of her work. And then she put the turtle back down. Of course, the turtle could do as the turtle see fit. And she said, well, as turtles get algae and barnacles and so forth, it really impedes their swimming and thus their ability to eat and to live and to survive. So I'm just here doing what I can, one turtle at a time. And the gentleman looked at her and he didn't quite understand. He said, "But ma'am, there are millions, if not billions, of turtles in the world. And maybe you can help maybe 5 a day, 10 a day, if you double your time and spend a lot of time here." And she said, "Young man, I may not be able to make a difference to every turtle in the world. And to this one turtle, I made a world of difference." Where can you make a world of difference? Don't be stymied in fear. Don't be stymied in "I can't." Don't be stymied in your ego, which is brilliant, by the way. We don't hate ego. We love ego. We just don't want ego to run the show, right? So if your ego is trying to protect you by not letting you engage in something, say, "Thank you, I love you, I honor you, I bless you, and God and I have this," right? So how can you move forward? What can you step into? So this week, as you've heard me offer several invitations, involve yourself in activities that remind you of your God-given gifts. Involve yourself in activities that you love. For as long as I can remember, my dear mom had pictures of ballerinas in her bedroom, partially because she was really drawn to ballet, partially because it drove my dad crazy. But the point is, that was her aspiration, that was her passion. She was never a ballerina, and she always wanted to be a ballerina. What is it that you want to be that you have yet to engage? Doesn't mean that you have to dance on the stage of the Performing Arts Center. You can dance around your living room. For those of you who solve mathematical equations, I invite you to bless the divine geometry that is flowing forward. Let it be. Know that God is in, around, and through it all. Most of all, beloveds, know that I see you. I see you as a curious being. I see you as a brilliant expression in whom God is well pleased, and I love you madly. Please join me in prayer. I love that space of curiosity. I love that space of what if. I love that space of we can do anything. I love that space of God plus me is a majority. And I say yes. I say yes on behalf of all who can hear my voice. I know the divine within. I see that. I love that. I honor that. I bless the full expression of that, however it comes forward, with grace, with ease, with joy, and with great love. So on this day, then, as we embrace the light, as we also embrace the darkness or the shadow side, I know that it is all good because it is all God. It can simply be no other way. And I bless that we choose to embrace the shadow. We choose to embrace the muck and the mire and the madness and know that God is in, around, and through it all. So I love that we're messy. I love that we're human. And I love that each and every one of us is a perfect expression of the divine. So we go forth on this day then, in grace, in gratitude, in glory, curiously exploring what is ours to do, knowing that the answers also come equally grace-filled and love-filled. So I find myself in that place of tremendous thanksgiving, of deep gratitude, as I simply release this prayer into the greatness that is the law, knowing that nothing returns null and void, knowing that it was done before it was spoken, indeed before it was thought. I bless each and every being in this community and on the planet. I know at the core of my being that all is well. I release, I let go, I allow it to be. We anchor this together by saying, and so it is, and so I am, and so we are. Amen. And now, dear ones, it is that beautiful time in our service where we offer you the opportunity to give where you are spiritually fed. This is such a glorious place of expression. So many people showing up in so many ways. And I simply say thank you. Thank you to you for being here. Thank you to all who participate in making these services what they are. I call it good. I call it very good. And I call it hugely blessed. We have many options for you to give, whether through our website or text to give or checks or cash or Venmo, no longer PayPal. They have made some different choices. And whatever works for you, we would be honored to figure that out with you. So I thank you in advance for your generosity, knowing that you can't outgive God. I am blessed and honored and humbled to receive your gifts on behalf of a most grateful Board of Trustees and spiritual community.
I love with the heart of God within me. I sing with the voice of God within me. I rest in the peace of God within me. Everything, everything praises God within me.
if you'd come forward, please. Beautiful. So we bless the prosperity, the abundance of this amazing community in finances and in so many other ways. We are blessed, we are honored, we are grateful, we are gracious, we humbly receive. Thank you, Spirit. All is well, and so it is. Amen. And forgive me, better late than never, if you would bless me, okay? If you would affirm with me our affirmation of abundance. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. That's what that look meant. You're brilliant. Oh my gosh. Make me look good when I don't deserve to. I appreciate you. And so, my friends, now we are moving into that place, and I just have to tell you, we just started with our prayer for the children, and we offered that on February 5th. And on February 12th, we had 2 children join us for service. So, you are powerful, you are extraordinary manifestors, and stay tuned, away we grow. If you'll join me in the blessing for our children, please. Let's rub our hands together and get the energy flowing as we send it out to this community and the world. You are loved, special, and important. We see you and bless the divine being you are. And finally, I underscore one more time our business meeting on March 19th. It's going to be good. It's going to be reasonably quick. We're trying to underpromise and overdeliver, and your board continually works extraordinarily hard. So thank you for putting that on your calendar and joining us for that event. As we go forth into this beautiful day, let us share our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. I am that light. The love of God enfolds us. I am that love. The power of God protects us. I am that power. The presence of God watches over us. I am that presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Go in power. Go in peace. If you would please rise and join hands if you'd like. Stay in your rows and join us in the peace song.